Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a good week. It is Thursday already of this week and it is going super quick. So I hope you had a good week. I know you are all working very, very hard. I've seen lots of work coming through on Class Dojo and also on to Microsoft Teams. So very, very well done to all of you. And you have all been accessing your online learning so well. I've been having a look at the registers and so many of you are accessing every single day. So well done to all of you. Fantastic week we are having, which is great. I hope you also enjoyed your PE lesson yesterday. So this is our second assembly of this week, and this week's theme for our assemblies is all about celebrating diversity and celebrating our differences. And I am sure you have all been able to identify how you are different and how also you are similar. But as we discussed on Tuesday, we have lots of differences, and there was a word I used, and the word was unique, so that we are all really unique. Okay, and that means that we have our own individuality. Okay, so nobody will be exactly the same as you. Everybody is different in some sort of way. And what we need to remember is that we need to celebrate our differences, and we need to be thinking very carefully about how we treat people who are different to ourselves, because we are all human beings. We all have feelings, so we need to be thinking very carefully about how we treat others. Okay, and one man who is very, very, very famous, and I posted a picture of him yesterday on to Class Dojo, is this man, as you can see on your screen. And this man, if you guessed who it was from the photograph yesterday, fantastic, is Martin Luther King. And he is somebody who is no longer with us. He has passed away, but he is somebody in history who will never, ever be forgotten. Okay, because he really did celebrate difference and diversity. He promoted diversity. But one thing that he did do, which makes him a historical, famous person, is that he fought for human rights and he fought for equality, so that every person, regardless of their differences, is treated the same. Okay, so this gentleman was an African American. Okay, he was born in the United States, and he is extremely famous in the United States. And he's that famous that if you live in America, in the United States, they have a holiday which signifies and celebrates everything that Martin Luther King did. And when he was your age and he went to school, he enjoyed doing all the things that you enjoy doing as when you are a child now. So he enjoyed playing lots of sports, he enjoyed playing the piano, he enjoyed going to school. Okay, but one thing that he did find difficult, and one thing that got in the way and he had some difficulties with, was because he was African American. So he wasn't white, okay, as you can see from the picture. His skin colour was different, okay, and this got in the way. It should never, ever get in the way. But in the past, if your skin colour was different to other people's and you weren't white, this in the past did pose a lot of difficulty for some people. Okay, and this gentleman, what he did was he fought for equality. Okay, he fought for making sure that every person, regardless of their race, regardless of their skin colour, regardless of what they believed, that everybody was treated exactly the same. And one thing that he did do is that he fought for the Americans and their rights, regardless of their skin colour. And what he did, he campaigned. So he really campaigned. He did a lot of work about improving people's rights to try to make all people equal. Regardless of their differences, regardless of their individuality, he fought to ensure that every person was treated equally. Because in the past, this unfortunately wasn't the case for everyone. And in the past, if you used to have a different skin colour and you weren't white, then you were sometimes treated differently, which was completely and utterly wrong, and today is completely and utterly wrong. And this is why we talk about celebrating our differences, regardless of their appearance, regardless of their skin colour, regardless if they have a disability, regardless if they speak in a different language, regardless of whether they come from a different country, that we treat everybody equally and we celebrate everybody's individuality, because everybody is fantastic for who they are, and having that individuality and being different is what makes our world a better place. And we talked about this on Tuesday, that if we were all the same, the world wouldn't be as it is today, because everybody brings their own individuality. And one thing that we have to remember and make sure that we do is that we treat people exactly the same, and that we don't treat people differently based on how they look, their skin colour, the language that they speak, if they have a disability. We treat people for who they are, because every person has feelings, and we need to make sure that we treat everybody with kindness. Okay, so this gentleman, Martin Luther King, okay, came across a lady whose name was Rosa Parks, and this was in 1955. And she was also an African American woman. Okay, so she wasn't white, and she was travelling on a bus. And when a white man got on, okay, in the past, what used to happen is if you were African American and you weren't white and you were travelling on the bus and a white person came onto the bus, what they used to do was they used to have to give up their seats for a white person, okay, which was wrong, completely wrong. However, one day Rosa Parks was travelling on the bus, okay, sitting on the bus, and a white man got onto that bus. And what she didn't do, she refused to give up her seat, which was the right thing to do, because that seat, she had every right to be sitting on that seat. So she refused to give up that seat, and very sadly, she was arrested by the police for that. And Martin Luther King came across this and heard about Rosa Parks and the situation that happened on the bus. And what he asked was African Americans, so people who had the same colour skin as him and also Rosa Parks, to protest, but peacefully, okay, by not travelling on the buses in the city where Rosa had been travelling. Okay, so what they did is they boycotted, they didn't travel on buses any longer, okay, for more than over a year. Okay, and what they did is they went to court. And they had a ruling, okay, and unfortunately that on buses, but in the olden days or in the past, was that there used to be a segregation, and that means people were split. Okay, so if you were on the bus, okay, people who had black skin had to go on one area of the bus, and people who had white skin had to go on a different area of the bus. And what Martin Luther King protested, and he did it peacefully, was that segregation stopped. So regardless of your skin, they were treated the same. That was what he fought for. Okay. And he continued to protest, and he continued to fight against that, to make sure that people who had black skin and people who had white skin were not treated differently. They were treated the same. And one thing that he did do in front of a huge crowd, and you can watch this on the internet, and I know our Year 4 children have done a lot of work around Martin Luther King as part of their America topic, United States topic, is he wrote a speech, and in his speech it was called I Have a Dream. And this is what Martin Luther King dreamt. This is what he wanted. This is what he protested for. And in red, you will see the bit that really stands out. I have a dream that one day little black boys and black girls will be able to join hands with little white boys and white girls as brothers and sisters. Because in the past, this wasn't the case. Okay, children who had black skin and children who had white skin were segregated. They were kept separately. Okay, and people were treated differently based on the colour of their skin. And this gentleman, Martin Luther King, fought against this. He protested against this. And his dream was that regardless of your skin colour, regardless of your race, you were treated equally. Okay, he wanted equality, and he fought and fought for this. And he did achieve this. Today, we treat people exactly the same. Okay, regardless of people's skin colour, regardless of what they believe in, regardless of their race, regardless of where they come from or the language that we speak, we treat people equally. Okay, and at Eaton Park, we most definitely promote equality. Okay, so this gentleman fought for the rights of people who weren't white, and he did an excellent job here. He fought very, very hard to make sure that there was equality. Okay, so this is Martin Luther King, and he links fantastically to our theme this week because he did promote and he did celebrate and he fought to celebrate that diversity within our world. And today, okay, he is remembered. He is remembered every single year that in America they hold a Martin Luther King Day as a holiday to celebrate what he achieved. Okay, and his I Have a Dream speech is extremely famous. So Martin Luther King is somebody we need to make sure that we remember, and we will continue to look into the work of Martin Luther King. You will, I'm sure that he will be mentioned in some of your lessons, and he will most definitely continue to be mentioned during our assembly themes as they come up. Okay, so that ends our assembly for today on celebrating diversity. It would be good for you to carry on having a look at Martin Luther King and his work, and our Year 4 children can share lots about Martin Luther King because they have done lots of work about him and the impact that he had. Okay, so well done. I hope you've listened carefully to that. Okay, carry on having a look at Martin Luther King, and I'm sure your class teachers will spend some time with you exploring his work and the impact that he had regarding diversity and making sure that people were treated equally. Okay, have a fabulous end to the week. Enjoy today and have a good day on Friday, and I will speak to you all again next week. Take care, everybody.